So for this task, we were asked to input two numbers, and after that display which of the two numbers was the smallest, the first number that we read or the second number. And to prepare for this video here, I have completed the first two steps in Polya's problem-solving techniques. So I have tried to understand the problem and I have devised the plan. And here on the right, we can see the plan that I came up with. I used a flowchart to say that, all right, the two first things that we need to do is to read the first and the second number. And after that, we come to the interesting part, the new part here, where we have an if statement saying that we should compare the first number to the second number. And if the first number is smaller than the second number, it is true. If this condition is true, then we go and follow this arrow and display that the first number is the smallest number. If this condition, first is smaller than second, is evaluated as false, we will follow the false arrow and display that the second number is the smallest number. And when we have displayed that, we follow the next arrow to the end, and the same goes here. If we ended up here displaying that the first number is the smallest, when we have done that, we continue following the arrow here, and we see that, all right, we end up in this arrow, which goes in the downward direction. So we will come here, go down to end. So let's try to implement this. I create a new file and I will save it as lecture 4, task 1.py, and the first thing that we're going to do is to read this first number, and we use the input function for that. And what are we gonna print? We're always gonna try to print something so that the user understands what to do. So I'm gonna say, what is the first number? And then we're gonna copy that and we're gonna ask the user what the second number is. But before we continue here, we said that we should read numbers, and what we have done here is to read text. So we should tell Python that it is numbers that we want to read. I will just input that they should be converted or casted to integers. So it is actually the number that is stored and not the text. All right, so these two lines correspond to these two boxes here. And now on, as we will see, to the if statement here. So we will write the if statement here. If the first number is smaller than the second number, what should happen if this evaluates to true? Then we should display that the first number is the smallest. So I will add a print statement here. The first number is the smallest. And in the other case, when this evaluates to false, what should we do? We should display that the second number is the smallest. And if this isn't true, then we can go into the else statement. So it's either gonna do whatever is written in here or what we write here. So we see that we can go in here or we can go down here, and that corresponds to these lines of code. Let's try it. Let's run it and see what happens. What is the first number? Let's say 10, and the second is 20. The first number is the smallest. Yes, 10 is smaller than 10. or 10 is smaller than 20. And if we run it again and we say that the first number is the big number, that's 20, the second one is 10, it will tell us that the second number that we entered is the smallest, because 10 is smaller than 20. Alright, so now that we have implemented it, we should stop and think about what we have learned from this. As we have seen the two first lines before, how to read something from the user and how to cast it or how to make it into a number, we have seen that before. These lines are new. How to make decisions in the code, so the if statement, and in this particular case we have an if else, so we would do one or the other thing. We need to remember how to do this, so we should make sure that we understand how this works, that we have a condition that is evaluated. If it's true, we will run the instructions here under it. Otherwise, in this case, we will jump to the else.